Are we on?
Yep.
Are we on?
This thing on.
Mic check,
Hello.
1, 2. 1, 2.
Hello.
Hey, Jeff, why don't you just say what you were just saying about all those council chamber folks?
They're awesome, and we're super glad they're here. And it's shocking to me that there aren't more. Like, for real. We get to hang out every month, every week now.
Get to come see our recordings whenever we drop them last minute.
I know.
So, to our council chambers, this was one of those where I had an hour and a half free, Jeff had an hour and a half free, and we're like, we need to get this done.
Yep.
So this is how fast we move sometimes. So, or how slow, and we get down to the wire.
Right.
So
yeah, because it is Friday. So we you know, ever since getting out of the Babylon 5 proper, we've really fallen apart.
Well, it's the rhythm, right? The rhythm is so weird right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we have yet to truly fall back into it, which you wouldn't think so, because it's still watch the episode, record the watch video, put out notes, get together and record this. But I mean, even when we were doing Babylon 5 proper, though, we didn't have like
a day.
You know, we didn't have a day. We just sort of, this is when we kind of made, I think we usually did like Wednesday, Thursday ish is when it tended to work for us. But you know what it is we used to be private with it and nobody could see it, but now we're opening it up to folks.
Right.
And so I think the schedule of it's a little more.
The schedule's that, and then I have my job stuff that picked up a couple
Your
months
job
ago.
changed. That's right.
Yeah,
Your job changed.
That's been a big hit. But I like the job, you know, so it's cool, and we're still getting the stuff mostly out, but
that's mostly on time.
Mostly, yeah.
Mostly on time.
Apologize to our patrons for our notes literally coming out 5 minutes before we started this.
We got Joey and Trey in the lobby. I see them over there. So hello to you guys. Quick patrons, welcome. And if you're here, drop a comment. Let us know that you're here. Just a reminder, we're not going to interact with the chat at all while we're recording the episode proper, but we will try to catch up with you guys on the backside. So please have at it. Have a heyday with whatever you're saying. We'll catch it up on the backside. For those of you that are watching this on YouTube, welcome. You guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. What you're about to watch is Jeff and I record a live podcast. And they're the audio podcast. This is the behind the scenes. This is how we do it. We don't edit this video. So this is the one where you get all the mistakes, you get all the flubs, but also you get the jokes and the crack ups and the turn left, turn right, all that sort of stuff. And if you're wondering what we're talking about, Council Chambers is a tier on our Patreon page. And if you're on that tier, one of the perks of that, at least through Crusade, Jeff, I don't know if we'll extend it beyond that. We hope we will. But at least through Crusade, we're inviting you guys out to the live recordings. You'll get a message when we go live. We could give you a few days notice. We could give you an hour notice, or we could give you about 10 minutes notice. So it happens. It's just there. Jeff is looking like he has discovered stuff and has problems.
I'm just really disappointed. I had an image file I was going to share on this of a thing I'm going to talk about, and apparently DRM, like I thought I took the screenshot and it was great, but DRM now it's just a black screen and I can't go back and capture the picture again. I might between this recording and editing it, but we'll just have to talk about it. So you ready to start?
I'm ready to go, man.
Let's do this.
So what is to be gained by fighting?
Maybe nothing. Maybe a lot. I'd like to be the one to make that decision.
I want you to know that this thing just made a very large dent in my ship.
The year is 2024.
The name of the podcast, Babylon 5.
For the first time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the first time, not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Akin.
And my name is Brent Allen. You know, Jeff and I used to be, still are, I guess, two veteran Star Trek podcasting nerds who had never seen Babylon 5 before. So we decided to get together and document that, our journey through that. And we wound up falling in love with it so much that we're now continuing that journey with Crusade for the first time.
And just like always, we're going to be searching for the deep hidden messages that we find in this series. Don't worry, though. Those are not Star Trek messages because, again, not a Star Trek podcast. So to reinforce that, we're keeping our long-running game of the Rule of 3 in play. That gives us a total combined of no more than 3 references to Star Trek per episode.
That's it. 3. One of those twice. No substitutions, exchanges, or refund.
And if we happen to make one of those references, Jeff,
you're going to hear this. Hey, Brent.
Hey, Jeff.
We have a 5-star review.
Oh, yes.
This one's off of Apple Podcasts, and D. Sassafras says, I love a lot of these usernames we've been getting. These are pretty epic.
They're so much fun.
D. Sassafras. I'm really enjoying the show. I just started a rewatch, and I'm following along with the guys, and I'm loving their first go-around perspective. I saw the show when it first aired a million years ago, and then had a great time binging it with my children when they were little. Listening in while they watch with no clues about the future is a lot of fun. I'm constantly mentally nudging them along like a bowler trying to turn a gutter ball into a strike. I just finished the first season, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the show. Gonna check out their other stuff when I'm done with Babylon 5.
Well, D. Sassafras, thank you so much for sending that in. We definitely appreciate it. Unfortunately, I think there's a lot more gutter balls to come than there are strikes.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, there are a few big strikes coming up that you haven't gotten to yet. And oh boy, when they do, you definitely, and if you're an audio podcast listener only, you might want to check out the YouTubes for some of those special videos. So, Hey, Jeff, you know, along with our game, The Rule of 3, there's another game we like to play at the end of the show where we try to guess what next week's episode is going to be based on title alone. We're in the final weeks of this particular game. However, this is the part of the show where we revisit that prediction, that game from last week, and see just how right we were. So, Jeff, do you think you can remember what you thought the needs of Earth was going to be about, and how close do you think you were?
I sure can remember, so I get at least one of those answers as a positive. The other ones, not so much. I thought this was going to be Dr. Chambers getting to go to Earth, visit her sister, and then Earth Force was going to try and ground the Excalibur crew because they got exposed to the Drock Plague and stuff like that. Dr. Chambers was in this episode, so...
Yes, Dr. Chambers was definitely in the episode. I can confirm that.
That's about all I got on this one. What did you think it was going to be about?
Well, I said that basically I think I kind of put this more to a caveat of the show as a whole, is this is going to be about what happens when the needs for the survival of Earth butt up against the sovereign rights of other alien cultures and other alien worlds. I felt like this is an issue the show could explore in many, many different ways, many times over. And especially since we've added the questions of who do you serve, whom do you trust? So I think I said this one was going to be that. They're going to go to some planet, come across a group of people that have something that Earth needs to survive. And maybe I posited it's that information that alien guy who inhabited Wells said that he had right before he died. But that it was going to be in conflict with the people who have that information or have that thing. And Gideon's going to have to decide if the needs of the Earth outweigh the needs of everyone else. And I also said, I feel like this is going to be chock full of messages. I think I got the last part right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think so.
I feel like I got the last one right. And I don't know about the rest of it, but I feel like we were approaching that. Like we were getting there, and then it sort of turned into something else altogether, which was totally cool. I'm great with that. But yeah. So I still think we're on that path of we're going to explore that theme quite a bit, but this just turned into something else. So
very different. But yeah, you got a lot of pieces in this one for sure.
Well, Jeff, that's what you and I thought the needs of Earth were going to be about. For the folks out there who haven't seen this episode in a while, maybe they've never seen it and they're just hanging out with us, which is far more likely here with Crusade than it was for Babylon 5. Why don't you tell the folks at home exactly what this episode was about?
Remember back when we heard the Rangers were out looking for the cure stuff too? Well, this episode is a show don't tell on that front. We meet a Minbari Ranger that tells Gideon they've got a hot lead, but they'll have to interfere with another race, traffic in stolen merchandise, and break any number of local laws to get it. And if they get this thing, I need to go back. I totally misread that. Traffic in stolen merchandise and break any number of local laws. And when they do that, they'll get the fully downloaded Wikipedia of an entire species. And that guy is now on the lam. And who knows? There could be some info on the Drock Plague on there. Maybe, possibly. But time is of the essence. His people have a bounty on his head and they are chasing him down. They find his location and the race is on. Gideon and Darina head down to the planet's surface to get this Nachok Var guy and his Wikipedia. Darina's been here before and is confident that she can get to this guy. She asks Gideon to set up a distraction, and he absolutely obliges. And I think he really enjoyed doing it too. Then she flashes a Thieves Guild signal and some rando takes them to meet Nachok. On the way out, Darina pauses to free a bunch of slaves. Later on, we find out that she was sold into slavery by her family. And this is her way of answering the prayers that never were answered for her. On the Excalibur, Var is unwilling to let go of his downloaded data. That is, until he discovers Falco. When Gideon walks in on him, he's screaming, "Rock, rock, rock me, Amadeus!" Once he knows these people value culture and music, he agrees to share his data. At the same time, though, his people, the Marathi, show up. They're pretty high and mighty and basically threaten to fight them with a whole bunch of ships if they don't just hand the dude over. Nachok goes full Braytak and agrees on his own to go with his people, knowing that his data is safe on the Excalibur. But not surprisingly, the Matari blow dudes shuttle up as soon as they're clear of the ship. Gideon, feeling defeated, just lets him go. He's got no jurisdiction or authority here. Dr. Chambers has deciphered what was in the downloaded data from Braytak, and it's not all the scientific and medical info they were hoping for. No, it's all their culture, their books, their music, their art. Basically, he's shared their Audible and YouTube with them. And Gideon is pissed. But Dr. Chambers schools him on the power of hope. Gideon gets that message and asks if he can indulge in some of that hope too. Oh yeah. And there was absolute, full-on, total porn in this one. Like Snow White and the Seven Narns, Who's Your Little pak'ma'ra, and yes, we almost see a fully nude pak'ma'ra in this one. Wow. So Brent, we got a lengthy view of the needs of Max Eilerson in this one. What did you think about the needs of Earth?
You know, Jeff, I'm trying to think real hard, and I'm not sure that there was a single part of this episode that I did not like. I loved this episode. Is this an Emmy worthy submit it for all the what do you call them, like the award shows and stuff? No, it's not that kind of an episode. I want to tread this water really carefully right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring in the dreaded thing. This is not a reference. This is talking about me as a Star Trek podcaster. Okay. What I do, what you do, what we do is we have this thing where Star Trek is not just cowboys in space going pew pew pew. It's about showing us society as we are. It's these messages that get laid into Star Trek and what it's meat. It's something you can chew on. It's like having a nice steak for dinner if you really understand what's going on behind the scenes. Sometimes there's just fun little episodes that are cotton candy. That's fine. But a lot of times Star Trek intentionally is like that. This is an episode that scratched all those itches as a Star Trek guy right here. And I just want to highlight, I'm not saying that the messages contained in this episode are Star Trek messages. They're not. They're sci-fi messages. This is we talk about how sci-fi is a genre that is uniquely positioned to be able to show Earth, ourselves, to posit what things could be like in the future if we don't change our ways, to show us what could be if we choose well, to show us how just to be better human beings. It's those sci-fi messages, and this one just dives full into that. It embraces it all the way around. I was entertained the entire way. I cackled at the beginning part with the porn bit. It was so funny. There's a part later on, and I don't know, we can talk about that later, but Gideon, was it Gideon or Eilerson? One of the two says this line about the data crystals that Gideon has from Eilerson. And he's like, yeah, he's been banging those crystals around. And I'm like, dude, that's dirty. That is dirty what you just said there. So it's the little things like that. But then there's Gideon and Darina down in the thing, and Gideon's like just getting himself beat up while Darina goes and does her thing. But then she has this moment of crisis that's like a personal mission for her that she has to go out, and you have that whole piece going on. And then certainly the whole thing with, what'd you say his name? I got his Braytak to me. It was Braytak.
Natchok Var.
There you go. Where he's holding all the important information from his society. No, it's his culture. And his culture is, oh my gosh, it's like Fahrenheit 451, 351. What's the number?
451.
It's a 451. It's Fahrenheit 451 society. And he's like, no, I have to save this. I got to do everything I can. And man sacrifices. Oh my gosh. It's just phenomenal, Jeff. I loved this episode all the way through. Yeah, I'll watch this one every single time it's on. How about you?
Yeah, I feel almost exactly the same. This was so good. But to your point, I'm going to go even deeper on your point that this was beat for beat almost a Star Trek episode. Like from the makeup to a lot of the framing and just kind of the way things were set up. But this one was wrapped in a little Babylon 5. That opening scene.
Yeah.
It made it, yeah, it's like, hey, we're Star Trek, but also we're not. We're not your mom's Star Trek. Just watch this video right here and we'll prove you. I like that we got some deeper dives into some of the characters. We learned more about Gideon and his time on the Cerberus that we got hinted about when he and Galen came together. We got some time with Matheson for the first time. Learned a lot more about Darina, and we got, a little insight into Eilerson in this one. And, I think I made the statement a couple times during my reaction and even in my notes that scene where they're just showing that porn is either one of the worst scenes in the history of television or one of the best. Either way, it's one of my favorites. Like, on one hand, I love they went there. But also, I think what was neat about it was it just opened up, and I don't think this is the direction our conversation is going to take, but just to say it, like, it opened up this thing that, hey, in the future, we're not going to be our ideas of sexuality that we have today aren't really necessarily going to apply in the future. We're going to know so much more, and there's going to be just different stuff. And I don't know. I thought it was a neat exploration of just sexual expression and stuff in the 23rd century. But I have a theory about this one, and I think this will show when we get into our conversations, but I think that this must have been the last episode that was physically produced. And they knew it was canceled. He knew it was going to be the last one. He's like, well, I'm going to slip some porn into this one. Also, I have this stack of ideas and messages and things that I wanted interrogated, and I have 12 minutes of screen time left. So buckle up. We are shoving every single one of these. I was going to spread this over 4.5 more seasons, but I got 12 minutes.
We said the same thing back in Babylon 5, right? Remember we get to the end of, I believe it was Objects in Rest. And the episode kind of goes out on Sheridan sitting there recording a message to his son. Which is that was more of the, hey, let me recap 5 seasons of messages for you of what JMS has been trying to get out. These are the lessons I want you to learn and take with you as you leave here. Wrapped into that, I get what you're saying. This is just hey, here's what I would have given you, but there you go.
But no, this was a fantastic episode. I really enjoyed it. I don't have a lot of bad stuff to say on it at all.
We have to start this off. We got to get it out of the way. We got to talk about the porn,
the pak'ma'ra,
and dive in. We have to talk about This whole piece. All right, number one. I have to believe that in some measure, folks, tell me out there if I'm right or wrong. I have to believe in some measure, this was TNT coming to JMS saying, hey, we want you to do something. You know, I know CW was all about get the bands, get the popular boy bands and stuff on the show or something of that nature. And this was JMS being like, okay, you want me to do something to draw some eyeballs? Bam. And it was just his way of like kind of shoving it back in the man's face.
Totally.
You know, I've got to believe that that's what that was.
I also have to believe that it's him taking advantage of his composer and the music. He's just like, hey, I finally found a place where your music makes sense.
It worked.
It did.
It worked. Also, now the other, okay, first of all, Snow White and the Seven Narns. I can't. That immediately conjures image. Now, here's the thing. Imagine, and I'm going to say this a few times. Imagine you're a person who never watched Babylon 5.
Mm-hmm.
You're entering into Crusade. This is your entry point. You hear Snow White and the Seven Narns. Goes over your head. You have no idea.
Sounds spacey. Ooh,
yeah. Later, you start watching Babylon 5, and then you see Jakar, and they call him a Narn, and you make the connection like, 7 of these guys.
Do you remember back the Regent, right, when we used to call him Jokey McJokerson when he was just kind of the, yeah. And so it's the first time he was told his Jokey McJokerson thing about the Narn to Veer, and then Veer goes off and he opens the door and there's just like this wall of
Narns, right.
Veer Kato and the Seven.
And then the other one, who's your pak'ma'ra? Now, here's the other thing. Okay. Look, we've seen our fair share of pak'ma'ra, never derobed.
Right.
But the pak'ma'ra that they had in this video was tall and standing up straight and ripped and muscular. And I was like, that's not a pak'ma'ra. That ain't real. And I'm having this idea in my head of, okay, first of all, I don't know that this is any different from what they're producing today, but in the future, they're literally like it literally is all fake.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what does it look like for these guys to, you know, do this? Well, the anatomy is different because, Jeff, I have since found out how pak'ma'ra reproduce.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
The little hump on their back. Now, some people say that the pak'ma'ra is a male and the little hump on their back is a female. There are others who say that the pak'ma'ra is a female and the little hump on the back is actually the male.
Mm-hmm.
And they're mating. That's them like mating, and that's why you always have, and it just happens all underneath this robe and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there's a piece of me that sits back and goes, well, you can't have a pak'ma'ra and a human or a Snow White or a whatever, because bodies don't mesh like that necessarily, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I just, man, that opened up it sent my mind going, not into dirty places, but just to logistics of like, oh my gosh.
Right. How does this even happen? But I thought also, and I think I talked about it a little bit when I was watching it, but also maybe that had very little to do with actual sex and was more just like, you know, some domination and some stuff going on.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But they have, hold on, let me see if I have my note here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to do my find. Oh, there it is. Okay. So Brent, I have an image that I hope to be able to share right here. But if you pause the episode at almost exactly 10 seconds, there's totally nipple. Full on. Yeah. I felt like I was like 13 with the wavy TV thing, you know, trying to like, oh, I saw things.
Skinamax.
But I was watching the thing and I'm like, oh my God, did they just? And then I'm like frame by frame and I'm like, oh my God.
To be fair, I did not look that closely.
I was just doing my research. I take this real seriously.
So the show opens, Gideon's just sitting there watching this.
Stone-faced.
It's just stone-faced, just watching this. And the doctor walks in. There's no like, oh my God. Like there's no, he's just watching, turns around, looks at the doctor and is just like,
just carry on a conversation.
Right. And she's like, should I come back? Do we need to whatever? And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is. But here's the thing. I think it was the doctor who said, maybe it was the doctor who said like, they can't actually reproduce like that, or that's not real. Like,
yeah,
what you're seeing there is not real. And I just sat there and I thought, I know a lot of doctors, I know a lot of physicians. And one thing that I constantly hear is they cannot watch medical shows because the medicine in them is so bad and it's not real at all. And I'm like, man, of course the doctor would have problems with, accuracy on screen.
I know. That's how it works. She walked in and I was just like, oh my God, where's HR? This is a serious problem. Like, oh my God. But they started this gimmick.
But he's in his quarters. He's in his quarters.
Like, well, yeah, but you know what? She knocks on the door. You pause and turn the screen. You don't just keep watching. I mean, imagine that. Hey, boss, you got a minute? Yeah, come on in. I'm just watching this thing right here. Go ahead and talk while I'm watching.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to pause it for you. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But they started this shtick. They started this gimmick in this scene, and they played it out a couple of times where they'd have it playing, and then they all kind of stop and tilt their head to the side and all look,
like
and
a
they all
dog,
do it together. Yeah, it's great. And I think for me, opening the garage door.
That is much louder since you moved your desk.
Because literally, like now my microphone's pointing right. Like there's the door.
There's the garage door, yeah.
Yeah, so it picks it up a lot more. Give her a sec. I think she just... Okay. Oh. But I think a big reason why this worked, though, in the scope of the whole show, was because it was Max's.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were told, I think it was after last week or the week before, a lot of people were saying in the comments and over on Patreon that like, no, you're supposed to not like Max Eilerson. Like you're not, and this proves it beyond a shadow of a doubt, where it's like, yeah, that's the point of this character. And Gideon playing him with the whole like, my data crystal's corrupted. Let me get it back for me so I can get you.
Oh, yeah, sure, we can
deal with that later.
No problem. I mean, it's not like there's something on there, right? Like,
that's so good.
Okay, Jeff.
I mean, I could just keep talking about this part. We could just keep doing this. I'm good. I have a lot of notes.
No, this is my last one on this particular deal. But I mean, this played I don't know if you ever had this experience. I certainly did. Of Dad had a videotape in his sock drawer, and I found it. And I knew what it was, and I'll never forget. Like, there was the one day that it got recorded over. Like, it was, I don't know what it was, an episode of something or other, a football game or whatever. But then as soon as the recording's done, it flips right back to whatever was on there before. I'm I'm watching this play out and I'm going, I was, I don't know, 9, 10, 11 years old when this happened. Like, oh my gosh. Just like, to get this data crystal out of his sock drawer, man, that's the only place I can think it came from.
Right. Oh, it's one of these. Let me grab it really quick. Yeah, I'll just.
Yeah.
I got this on another data crystal somewhere in my petabytes worth of material. Oh my God, let's use this one.
It was funny. I think I'm going to wrap this whole piece up. I thought it was hilarious. The whole bit, it was so fun.
Well, and here's, I'll watch this transition, this little segue into the actual conversation. It was also brilliant how they used it on the planet. Like, they used it as a distraction. So it wasn't just a joke. It's also like, there's a practical reason.
Well, it turned into a MacGuffin, right? Like, that it moved the plot forward later. So, and
it was so funny in that scene too, because like they start playing it to distract all these, hoodlum tough guys, and you hear it, and they, oh my God, what is? I have to get up and I have to, like, they're all doing.
I gotta walk over here and see this.
I gotta.
But the thing is that played so true. You can see them actually doing that.
It was perfect. It was so well done. It was good. What did you think? The very top of the episode, just about. But when we saw Minbari, what did you think about that?
Man, I loved it. I loved seeing the Minbari. Again, I go back to that whole deal of, if you never saw Babylon 5, this would be a new alien to you. We've never seen a Minbari on Crusade before, at least not in our run, the order we're doing it. So, or at least I can't recall if we've ever seen a Minbari. Somebody's like, oh, there was one in the background of it. Okay, cool.
I don't think there was.
I don't think there was. I wouldn't know who the Rangers are. I wouldn't know like all of these things. And the thing is that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't integral to the part to know who those guys were, but I felt, more into the show because I knew who those guys were,
Totally.
But this dude comes in and he's like, so here's this thing and we can't go do it, but I can give it to you if you want it, but here's what it's going to mean. And he's like, how far are you prepared to go? That was a great question. I thought that should be added to that list.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Who are you? What do you want? Where are you going? Who do you serve? Who do you trust? How far are you prepared to go? Like that's a great question.
That is a good one.
But when Gideon goes, I'll go as far as I need, which by the way, that is something to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Gideon saying that. The way the Minbari smiled, I was like, good. I was hoping you'd say that. This is not your typical Minbari.
No.
And I don't know if that's just a signal that Minbari's culture has started to change. Because remember, this is 5 years after the end of Babylon 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that Minbari culture has started to change in a much needed way. Or is this guy just been hanging around humans too long?
Could be. Or could just be the fact he's a ranger, and they have a different culture within themselves. I did like how, because they've mentioned the Rangers a handful of times, and it's a great device where if I'm a casual viewer, I have an idea of what Rangers means, and so it's even at a high level, you're like, oh, okay, so they're out looking for stuff. But they did a great job explaining their role just in, in a really compressed amount of time. Yep. There's a lot of exposition in that scene that was done really, really well. But this is my one real beef on the episode was just the line delivery of him where he's like, you have to do petty larceny and break. I'm like, he made it like this big thing, but he's literally like, you'll have to be mildly inconvenient to the municipal government. It's like, oh. Yeah, it didn't ring real, and especially when you showed up where that place was, it's like, oh, you really needed to describe this in a lot more detail. You left a lot out.
I will say this, when Gideon's going through that whole piece, and my thought was, he's willing to break all these laws just to save 10 billion people. Gideon's got a little Cisco in him.
Totally.
I kind of like it. That was a reference.
That was a reference. And it was a really well played one as well. But they're down on the planet's surface, right? So they find out where this guy is and they head down to the planet's surface and they got a whole plan to get inside. It's built a lot like Mars. There's domes and things connecting them. And they get to the doorway and they can't get in.
Mm.
But I guess I did have another beef with this episode. So Doreen's like, I haven't been here in 6 years. I'm sure I remember the code. Go ahead and take my gloves off so I will suffocate, because I totally remember this thing from 6 years ago.
Right.
Really? Also, why did they take both gloves off? Slow down.
That was interesting to me. Yeah.
But I did really appreciate.
Can we back up a little bit?
Oh yeah.
No, well, I was going to say, like, before we get down to the planet, one, to go back to my prediction of the episode of where I'm talking about, we're going to have to balance the needs of Earth against the law, against going against the sovereignty of another nation. So far, I'm with Gideon on this particular one. Like, the needs of Earth do outweigh the illegalities. Is that a word?
Sure.
The illegalities that they're facing here. We're not talking about wiping out a planet or destroying another species. We're just talking about freeing a fugitive.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we're talking about. So yeah, for 10 billion people, go break that law. That's fine. Yeah, I'm with you so far. But I want to add a question for you though.
Okay.
Gideon says he's the one who has to go do this mission. They're like, oh no, you don't need to go do this mission. No, I've got to do this because if this thing goes sideways, I'm taking the rap. No one else. What are your thoughts, Mr. Leadership Guy?
That's how it's done. That is how it's done. I think, Star Trek, Babylon 5, I think Battlestar Galactica did this. I'm sure other ones, but there's this moment where if we mess up, we're going to get called in the carpet. There's going to be nobody to support us. But there's the moment where the captain says, I'm going to go do this. You can come along or you can walk away. It's your choice. And there'll be no consequences for walking away. And of course, everybody's like, I'm in, except for that one guy in the CNC in Babylon 5 who's like, no, I don't want to secede from Earth.
Well, because you have to have the one guy, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, not me. But then
everybody else is like, I think I speak for the crew captain when I say, to hell with our orders.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's such a trope, and it's great, and all the things. And that's what I expected to happen here. But no, Gideon was just like, no, I'm not even going to ask you to do this. I'm going to do it. And I think that's like a next level leadership thing of like, as soon as if you're in a position of power and you're like, hey, so I can't really ask you to do this, but I'm going to ask you to do this, you're totally going to do it. Right? Like, are you going to fire me if I don't do it? So him just saying, no, there's no question, I'm doing this. That was great. That was so good. And it made total sense.
Absolutely. Also, Gideon's the guy. He's got to be on the mission.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's sort of the star of the show. I did really appreciate that we took Darina down because like last week and even this week, I've kind of been like, well, we haven't really gotten a whole lot of Darina. The only one we've had less of than Darina really has been Lockley
or Matheson even.
Yeah, but Matheson's still better. You're right. Matheson too. But I mean, I was really glad to get some Darina and just kind of get some of her backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Darina's backstory, she was a slave. She's not just a thief. She was a slave. She said last time she was here, she was learning how to serve. And I'm like, is this about who you serve?
Oh, it's part of her question for that.
Yeah. Which we can talk about whether or not that's true or not. Ultimately, it wasn't in that way, but.
Well, let me dive into that though a little bit, because if we look at that, she was learning how to serve. Now, just because you learn a thing doesn't mean that you do it, right? But she did a thing this time when she paused the whole mission, jeopardized it to blow that door open and release the slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Was that her applying what she learned? She was serving those slaves and in a way serving herself at the same time, right? Like she was addressing that past trauma, but also like I was learning how to serve, not my masters, not whatever, but the people who were stuck with me, the people in my thing. And this was her chance to be like, now I can actually be of service to you.
I love the metaphor that you're putting to that. I don't think that's at all what she meant or what JMS meant when he wrote those lines. Or whomever wrote those lines. I don't think that's what they meant, but I love what you're saying. I love how you're turning that on its heels to actually mean something really cool.
I loved that whole thing with her doing that and Gideon getting on top of her. What the heck? And then she's like, no, dude, like this was that whole thing played out in a great way. That's not let me get to know you a little bit. That's like, here I am. And this is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But before we got to that,
yeah,
she needed a distraction.
So Gideon goes to pick a fight with a guy. Jeff, tell me true or not. This guy looked like he was straight up right out of World of Warcraft.
Yeah, wow. Or I thought he looked like Goro from Mortal Kombat, just with two arms.
Something like that, yeah. Like he looked like he could be that dude. I was like, oh my God. Of all people to go pick the fight with, that's not the guy.
It's so great. He hits and it's like, oh, I should have started smaller. But there's a scene, so like he immediately picks him up and power slams him over and into a table. Yeah. I watched that little scene probably 20 times. The stunt worker who did that, you watch them like it was a perfectly executed move. It was, go back and watch it. All of you, go back and watch that scene. It was so perfectly executed. It was beautiful.
Jeff, you need to tell me about these clips because I can pull them for you. I don't have that same problem you do.
I don't normally have that problem. Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Anyway, no, that'd be great to look because he took a bump, right? Basically, that's what he did. Yeah, he took a bump. That's not a drug reference, folks. That's a wrestling reference. Let's just be clear.
Yeah. But they find this Natchok Var guy, and then they're on their way.
Oh, no. We can't move on from that. Hold on. Darina, while she's leaving that room during the distraction that Gideon is causing, she stops at the edge and she stops and she stalls and she gives somebody a look. And like, what in the world is she doing? My first thought when she did that was, oh no, she just effed up.
Oh.
Because now she got caught. Because that person that saw her, that was her former slave master. And she just got seen. Like, oh, shoot. And she just messed up for whatever reason. No, turns out she was doing a Thieves Guild thing and got her dude to come help because they're all with each other. Which I'm really interested in how this Thieves Guild thing works.
Same.
You know what I mean? Like, they're friends, they're buddies, they're looking out for each other. They have rules about stepping on each other's turf and whatnot. And you've got to imagine there's some sort of internal conflicts there, but the guild supersedes that. Like, what are the rules? I'm really interested in this Thieves Guild piece.
Yeah, she had to throw it up. I didn't think that. I kind of connected those dots pretty easily because at first when she did put the symbol up on the thing, I was like, what is going on? And then she made eye contact. It's like, oh, it's a Thieves Guild thing. Oh, okay. That's actually paying off at this point. But I looked at that guy and I wonder if it's the same actor who played the hollow techno mage from last week. They looked almost exactly the same.
Interesting. I just want to point out, Jeff, of course you would pick up on that and I wouldn't. You would suss that out. I was like, no, Dorita just effed up.
Right? She's going to die.
Yeah.
When she put the thing up, I was like, what is
I didn't
that?
know what she was doing. I was like, she just sort of like did a thing with her hand. I was like, did she activate something? What in the world? You know, but then on the other side of the wall, Gideon gets thrown through the window. Now he's had this big fight. Now this is the part that took me out of the episode. He has this big fight. He's just come back from his mission of distraction. And all he has is a little scratch on his face.
Yeah.
Like, really?
He should have been pulped out. Just
something. It's just, did I do it? Did you get what you needed?
Dorina!
Right? Okay.
But
now let's talk about Natchok.
He's that tough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we get Natchok.
So how long did it take you? How long did it take you to realize this is Tony Amendola?
It's almost embarrassing how long it took me. So it was the scene, he's gone, right? Or I think he's almost gone, but where Dr. Chambers is like, here's the video of him telling us everything that just happened. And as he's talking, they burned the books, they burned the art. And I remember, I'm just like, is that Tony Amendola? Is that Braytag? And then afterwards I went back and looked, I'm like, holy crud, it was totally him. I'd never, if it wasn't for his voice and his delivery, he looked nothing like Tony Amendola.
That's the power of makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me how long it took me.
I'm almost afraid to. How long did it take you, Brent?
About 0.2 seconds.
He got
as
part
soon
of a
as he
word
opened
out.
his mouth, and I heard like just those first tones. I was like, "That's Tony Amendola. I know exactly who that is." And it was throwing me the whole episode because his voice and his makeup did not match
At all.
Like, that voice does not come out of that face. Great makeup job, by the way. Like, cool makeup job, but it just didn't match the voice of Tony Amendola is this gravelly. He's not this smooth skinned whatever. Like even like Tony's real face. He's very textured in his skin. You know, and you know this is a guy who's been around the corner. Like, he knows some stuff, and I'm saying that because I've seen him in other things, and that's just how he is. So it threw me, but oh my gosh, it's probably, Jeff, a top. Is it top 3? It might even be a top 3 Babylon 5 for the first time franchise guest appearance for me.
I think so too, because I think I think that he was cast for two reasons. He was cast for the scene when I could tell it was him, just given that soliloquy, just the power behind that. And he was cast for his facial acting when he discovered the music. When he started, I mean, I felt that with him, that connection to the music. It was incredible.
But, you know, the thing is, but also his lines that were written for him could have actually been written for Braytak.
Oh, exactly.
Like the way he was speaking, the words he was saying, like that's Braytak just talking right there. It's not just the voice, it's the cadence, it's the rhythm, it's the words, it's the sentence structures that he uses. So,
well, from a character standpoint, his willingness to sacrifice himself for something bigger than him, to put himself at risk for something like that, like it was literally like, hey, what if we put Braytak in weird makeup? Oh, that's Tony Amendola. Cool. I just want Braytak.
Right. Right.
All this predates that a little bit, I think.
So, when the Marathi, which by the way, it's kind of neat to get a new alien.
Totally, yeah.
We've been in this universe for a while now, and kind of thought I mean, do we know everybody out there, Jeff? No, but we've got a good handle on the main players of the big people who are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Even the side people who are there. This is a completely new species to us. We've never heard of them. But kind of at the end, they're standing there. They get their crystals back. Turns out we have a copy now, but they get their crystals back, and they get on their ship, and they go by themselves. Immediately, I was like, they're gonna put him on another shuttle, and they're gonna blow that shuttle out of the water. Like it didn't even take me half a second to know that that's what they were gonna do.
But the scene when they set that up though was so beautiful. With Natchok, Var, and Matheson right there, and I loved how they even played back to it when Matheson was having his crisis of conscience.
Yeah,
with the whole thing, but you could just see that look in Natchok's eyes where he's just like, I've done what I need to do. Like, we will live on. So of course I'm going to go do this thing.
Right.
But the Matari, a fleshed out species, which is great. But I mean, so we had met Nix, who was the translator for the minister guy, who was something, both those guys were something else, but Nix is railing off all the titles, the master of this and the conqueror of this. And Gideon's just like, I don't care. Shut up. What are you here for? He's like, oh, well, I'm his translator and I'm here to talk because he won't sully himself. And he's like, well, then you tell your guy that he's an ass. And I'm like, God, Gideon, you were the greatest. Right. So good. Yeah, they laid him out and it was incredible. But as they're doing that, like figuring all that out, because the Nix says that, hey, you can bring him in or we're going to go at it. And then like 6 ships come and surround the Excalibur. And so it's real do or die. What do we do here? And they had the whole question. This was the needs of the many question that came up where Eilerson was like, we can either save this refugee or do our mission and save the people of Earth. Which one is it going to be? Like, what did he say? He said, do the math here, Captain. Come on. And Gideon did another incredible leadership thing here. They could have sat there in that room and just been like, well, let's weigh this out. But he's like, hey, I'm going to go talk to Braytak. And I'm going to be like, hey, here's the deal. They're going to blow us out of the sky if they don't get you back, but we're interested. And then it just overlapped with that time when he had discovered our love for, 400-year-old music. And he's like, no, we're good. I'll give you my stuff and I'll go. Like problem solved. But I loved that Gideon went to the source.
Right.
But in that scene also, they said the thing, what is to be gained by fight? I had no idea I threw a Braytak line in the open. That's so cool.
So this may be crossing a little more over into the next segment, but it's the chunk of the episode. Like,
this is, we're at that point.
We get down to it, and turns out the Marathi have reached a point of morality. Government ordered morality.
The best kind.
And they're so overzealous of being moral that now they're burning books. They're eliminating art. They're doing all these things. And Jeff, listen, I agree there needs to be limits on the types of books that get placed in elementary school libraries.
Sure.
That makes total sense to me.
Have some standards.
Yes, there is a point to that, but there's also a point to going too far. And there are things right here in my own home state of Florida. I'm going to call it out, and I'm going to say it's not right. It's wrong, and it shouldn't be happening. The way they're banning books and what they're doing with teachers here in this state, it's not okay, and it's all under the guise of morality. It's all under the guise of everything you guys have there is immoral to have in front of the kids. And the thing is, it's not. You've gone too far, and you're eliminating this stuff. Now, that's just what's happening in my own home state right now. But we know throughout history, we've seen people burn books, eliminate art, ban music, like all of this stuff. And it's always done in the name of morality.
Yeah.
And it never turns out well for the society.
No.
Like ever.
When I watched this scene, get your Jeff bingo card out, because here comes one. I was watching, and this is 100% the story of 2112, Russia's 1976 opus, where they have this perfect society where morality is dictated, where the temples of Syrinx make all the decisions, or the priests of the temples of Syrinx make all the decisions for everyone. And it's very Randian sort of a culture. But one dude is out walking around one day, and he finds a guitar, and he starts playing the guitar, and he's so excited. He's like, oh my God, listen to this music and see and feel what it can do. And he goes to the priests, and he's like, look at this thing. It's amazing. And they crush him. They destroy him. And in this case, Natchok Braytak was the dude, the star. I mean, I got him right here. If you're watching on video, there's Starman.
I can see it. Yeah.
He's
right
the
over
guy.
your shoulder. Yeah.
But there was this little dialogue at the very end, because I was so hit by how, like you said, we're actively doing this here on Earth in America today. We record this, it's 2024, and it's happening. But at the end, Dr. Chambers and Gideon are talking, and I'm going to read the whole little phrase because it was amazing. It says, Eilerson said it himself, we have to focus on the needs of Earth. And Chambers says, I've listened to it. The stories, the music, they're all about hope. Hope to inspire a dozen generations. And Gideon says, well, we need to talk about the needs of Earth. While we're waiting on science to discover the math that'll lead to a cure, we need something to sustain us. And this is the music and the literature of hope. It's what we need. Another culture forgot that. We can't. Not now. Not ever. And we put this label of morality on doing this, but the reality is we are blocking, eclipsing hope for so many people. I think about you and me, right? So we are people of great privilege, and I want to acknowledge that, because the educational choices we've made for our children are choices not everyone can make. But because we've made these choices, our kids have access to things that others don't. So if they're in the public school system in the state of Florida right now, they're actively taking hope away from these kids. You get to intervene and make sure your kids have that. And other parents have that opportunity as well, but it's more just part and parcel. I have the same opportunity here, though in Oregon we're not banning books yet. I don't want to be too overly hopeful. We're in the middle of an election cycle right now, so we'll see. But just don't. Again, jumping way ahead, but the message: don't burn books. Don't.
Right.
Like it's not good.
Don't burn the art. Don't burn the art. You know, Jeff, I'm reminded of not last year, maybe 2 years ago. My family went up to the Biltmore Estate. It's in North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina. Oh, prayers for Asheville. Beautiful estate. If you guys have never been there, currently I think they're about halfway wiped off the map right now. Yeah. Give them some time to rebuild and go spend your dollars out there in tourism dollars and help rebuild that economy. But the Biltmore Estate, he was one of the grandsons of Cornelius Vanderbilt, the railroad tycoon. Just crap tons of money. Talk about privilege. And this dude builds effectively Downton Abbey.
Okay.
Right here in North Carolina. you know, I mean, the place is huge. I think it's still considered the largest single family private dwelling in existence in the United States. You know, and you can go tour it and all this sort of stuff. But I remember going through and as you're kind of going on a tour, turns out during, was it World War II? I think it was World War II. Turns out the government, like some of the local museums, they hid their artifacts and their priceless paintings and their priceless works of art at Biltmore to preserve it in case of wartime shenanigans. You know, because that's what people, they loot. You know, when you go in, you conquer a country, you loot that country. That's a lot of times how stuff gets spread where it's not supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually hid this stuff at Biltmore. It's like, don't burn it. Don't get rid of it. Don't loot it. Like,
they're like, nobody's going to bomb North Kakalaki. Like, we're fine. Just put it there.
Right. Out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, and I got to tell you, to get there, you got to go in the middle of nowhere.
Really?
Like, yeah, he knew where he was. He knew where he was putting that thing. So,
yeah, because it's that important to save the stuff. It's hope.
Yeah.
It's history. It's all of those things is what ties us back. I think, you know, I just have two more notes on the episode itself. One was about Matheson.
Okay.
So Matheson had his crisis of conscience.
Yeah.
Right. And I think there's stuff to look at, you know, from a messages standpoint, but it was interesting to me, a couple things he said in here. One being, did I not say this because I wanted to, you know, help this person, or did I not say it because of the new rules for telepaths? And I was like, that's a great, I mean, it's a little insight into this, you know, new telepath thing, but what a great conundrum that, you know, a telepath, we were able to interrogate a couple challenges for telepaths back with Talia and then Lita. Mm-hmm. But here, just that thing of like, I know a thing that I shouldn't know. Mm-hmm. What do I do about that? And I thought it was a really cool scene of him wrestling with that and how he desperately just wanted to know that his choice to not say anything was the right choice.
Yeah.
And then we got a little more insight into Gideon.
Yeah.
Found out he was on a ship called the Cerberus. I don't think we knew that before.
I was going to say, I didn't know. Are we supposed to know this ship from Babylon 5 maybe? Because I feel like they're talking about this as if we're supposed to know it, and I just don't.
What we know is also what we do know is that Gideon was on a ship. It got blowed up. He got out in an EV suit, was floating around and watched it. So the techno mages were somehow involved in the whole thing. Yeah. And that's how he and Gideon. That was my assumption, is they were talking about that ship.
Yeah.
With him.
But regardless, Gideon's carrying some guilt from his past over that whole situation.
347 people dead. 47. Oh, yeah, there you go. Not a reference, just a number in the episode, so it's fine. But yeah, that line really made me regret this series and what happened to it. Mm-hmm. This is one of those episodes where they're starting to, like, we learned the stuff about Darina and being a slave, learned a little more about Matheson and what he wrestles with as a telepath, and then this storyline with Gideon, and it makes me mad because I know we're not gonna, like, this is probably all we're ever gonna know.
Yeah. Of
that whole thing.
You know, it occurs to me, like, you go back to season 1 of Babylon 5, all the world building episodes that happened and how good some of them actually were. Mm-hmm. This feels like a good world building episode, lays a lot of groundwork that we're, you know, fast forward 2 or 3 seasons, all of a sudden Darina, as a former slave, now turned thief guild person, like, that's going to do some stuff for us. Mm-hmm. That they're laying that groundwork here. And oh man, it does. This is just, I think every episode just makes me a little more sad that it gets canceled because holy cow, what a good series this has turned out to be. So far.
We got so spoiled with Babylon 5 actually ending.
Yeah.
You know, and ending so beautifully. And so now to transition right into this thing that we know is going to fluff off. It's just like,
yeah. But we're here for it. We're here for all 13 episodes that we can get. So Jeff, unless you have anything else, I think we have reached that part where we boil this all down and see if this episode has any of those deep moral messages, those sci-fi messages that we talked about earlier today. Is it holding up a mirror to society? Yes. Is it giving us hope that things can be better in the future? Well, we'll talk about that. At the same time, is it delivering its message in its own unique way? Is it showing us how to be better people to each other? Is it doing the sci-fi stuff? Is it doing it in a Crusade way, a Babylon 5 way? Jeff, what messages did you find in this episode, Needs of Earth?
Well, to make this the shortest messages section of all time, it does all those things. There you go. Like it just crams so much in. And we talked about some of it during, our conversation just a minute ago. And so I won't dive back into that stuff. And there was so much in this, Brent. I'm going to talk about a couple of things, and then I want you to talk about anything else that you might have seen. But I was really struck by a couple of things that stood out in this one. One was, we talked about Darina jeopardizing the mission to free the slaves. Mm-hmm. But what it hit me, I mean, it's such a cliche at this point, but it is honestly one of the most powerful quotes of our time of be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
And that's what she was. She lived in a world where there was no good. She was sold by her own family. She was herded into this corridor and whatever as a slave. And it was horrible. She prayed for release.
Yeah.
All these years later, she was like, you ask what's more important, right? Saving this one refugee or the 10 billion people on Earth. For Darina, it was making right that thing and showing that there is hope. There is hope, even if you're a slave. I was really struck by that. So be the change that you want to see. If
I can add to that real quick.
Yeah.
So what I love that Darina did was she did the things she needed to do on that mission.
She still did her job, right?
She did her job. And at that point, when she stops, when she turns around to go to the thing, Gideon and others could have continued on without her.
True.
If she trips, she falls, she gets left behind because she has to go do this thing over here, they still can go succeed. She made a personal choice here. Now, they're going to, obviously, it's going to trip them up because they're going to stop and be, oh, what are you doing? But that's on them. They can keep going forward. Darina, she didn't sacrifice or put at risk the mission for her own side thing. She made sure that was taken care of first and then went and did her side thing.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I've been saying jeopardizes the mission, but it was ultimately Gideon's choice to stop and be like, what? She's like, we're good. I'm going to do this other thing.
Well, and to that point, of course, Gideon's going to stop and like try to get his people to go back. Like, of course he is.
Yeah. We had an episode, I think it was back in Appearances and Other Deceits. We had a discussion around what's more important than your life. What would you be willing to give your life up for? And we talked about that quite a bit in that episode, but I think we just got a massive example of that with Braytak literally being willing to sacrifice himself to save his culture. Mm-hmm. And he did it with a smile on his face, mm-hmm. right? Like when he got onto that shuttle, he looked Matheson in the eyes and he smiled at him. And he's like, I'm good. Like this is all I wanted to accomplish. But everything, in my opinion, in this episode revolves around one theme, and we talked about it quite a bit a minute ago, but it's the theme of hope. Mm. And we got our first glimpse of it when we saw that pak'ma'ra hoping he could dive in and be a part of all the fun that was happening right in front of him. But no, in all honesty, we saw it first early on when the Ranger was telling them what was out there. If you're willing to do these things, this is what's out there. And Gideon chose hope in that moment, right? He could have easily said, that's a lot. I don't know. I got to protect my crew. That puts us at risk. But he's like, no, there's hope that there could be something there. I choose hope. We're going to do this. And then throughout the episode, that continued to come up. It came up so much in the culture piece itself when we were getting Natchok Far's little download of everything. But Dr. Chambers, who I've not been too keen on through this episode, just did a beautiful job of through the whole thing. Like when they were talking about the data and she was talking about it being, art and culture. She's like, science is science. Like the math, every hydrogen is the most abundant, element in the world. And eventually everyone figures that out. They might give it a different name, but they get there. The math always works out the same. It's this other stuff that really matters. And for a scientist, for a doctor to be the one delivering the message that you have to have hope to sustain yourself through these things, I thought that was so powerful. And I think that in a time here in 2024 and everything that we've experienced in the last 4+ years, where a lot of science has been maligned, by public figures, and wow, that all they care about are the numbers and all they care about is science. But it's like, no, they care about our well-being, and our well-being in this case is music, literature, art. And for her to be able to deliver that message, and for Gideon to hear it, that scene where first he's so mad, what a waste. We wasted all this for what? For a YouTube download? Like, come on, this is ridiculous. But he went away and thought about it, and she was all about it. She listened to everything. She talked about it, and he's like, you're right. And I could use some of that hope right now. No one is immune to the need for hope. No one is too important for it. It doesn't matter what your position is. It's arguably the most important thing that you can offer in a lot of cases. Did you have any other thoughts on stuff? I know there's a lot more that happened in this episode.
I mean, I had more thoughts, but they're very much in line with yours. So I'll make this particular piece short about Darina. Why did Darina have to free the slaves? Because it used to be her and nobody came for her. And there's that whole do unto others and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, this was me. I know what it is. Nobody came for me. I have to come for these people. Because it's not okay that people don't come for those who are trapped in slavery.
Yeah. Or to steal a line from Mass Effect and Morden, it had to be me. Anyone else would have messed it up.
There you go. There you go.
It had to be Darina.
I like that. But Jeff, I love that you pulled that entire quote of art gives us hope and inspiration. People need this hope and inspiration while we're waiting on science to deliver the math or the cure or whatever. We have to have something to sustain us, to keep us going. Just within the last few weeks, as we record this, Hurricane Helene has just ravaged its way, not just through Florida, but through Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, up into Tennessee. And we've also just had Milton come across the state, and that's done its fair share of damage. But I mean, what happened with Helene, particularly in North Carolina in the mountains? This isn't on the coast. I'm talking about in the mountains. The way it has ravaged the area in a way that's completely unthinkable, in a way that those areas should never have been touched like that. Now, it turns out there was a lot of rain and stuff that's prepped the ground and saturated some stuff, and it was like this perfect storm. But I mean, Jeff, literally entire towns have been wiped away.
Yeah. People
dying, people suffering, even now as you and I record this. Kids without parents, kids dying, escaping to roofs, and then in stories of they didn't make it.
Yeah.
People are trying to pick up the pieces. And this came through, I don't know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, something like that. But it strikes me, Jeff. No, it came through on a Saturday. I'm sorry, I take that back. It came through on a Friday. The next day was Saturday. Now, we've just had this tragedy across multiple states here in America, across multiple provinces, I guess would be something of the equivalent in a lot of other countries. But you know what happens here in America on Saturdays, Jeff?
What's that?
It's college football day.
College football, yep.
We watch college football all day long. That's what we do here in America in the fall.
Especially down in those hurricane-ravaged areas. Football is life.
All over, all of this craziness is happening here. And people sat around watching football. My son played football that day. Now, not those people in that area necessarily, but many of us did. And the ones who weren't in that path, that's what we did. Hey, the next day was then Sunday. You know what Sunday is, Jeff?
More
in the
football
fall in America. It's NFL football day. From 1 to 11 Eastern's time. My friends in Central are like, no, it's noon to 10. I'm like, no. It's like what? It's what we do all day long. I get up, do what we do in the morning. We try to get home. We get lunch ready, order pizza, whatever you got to do. 1 o'clock games start. there it is. And that game's over about 4 o'clock game start. That game's over about 6:37. Guess what? 8 o'clock game start. Like, we're watching these games all day long. And then the next day was Monday. Jeff, you know what happens on Monday nights in America?
Football.
More football. Now, that's one thing. There's also movies that are getting released in theaters. People going to see movies. There's plays. There's musical. There's things being performed at these playhouses. There's music concerts. Museums were open. Art galleries were open. Why? Why? In the midst of all this devastation and destruction, we're watching football. We're going to concerts. We're whatever. Why? Because we need art. We need entertainment. We need it to sustain us while we wait on science or the rescue helicopters to do their thing. We cannot, as a society, this is the message, we cannot discount the importance of art. I remember when COVID first hit, Jeff. As a podcaster, I'm sitting there going, man, do I have any right to be, what am I doing? This whole thing. And I also remember feeling this inordinate weight and responsibility that for whatever I could do to add entertainment value into people's lives as they're just sitting at home waiting on news of something that they can leave the freaking house and not die.
Yeah.
You know, and I felt a big piece of providing that, not escapism, but that sustainability to keep us going through that. That was just my little part. You know, I don't even have a big microphone. It's just this little guy over here. But I felt like we had that role. It's the reason why we still sit here and do this episode tonight rather than being out and doing other things. So don't discount the importance of art. I do have to wonder, Jeff, and I truly wonder what was going on in the real world society when this episode was written and filmed, because I do remember hearing a lot back probably about this time where funding was getting cut for schools and principals had to decide, okay, do I pay the science teacher or do I pay the art teacher? Like they had to make the decision. Something's got to, and art programs are just getting cut left and right. And they still are in many situations. I know there's a theater I work for right here that I do a lot of work for here, and they're losing a $60,000 grant from the state budget this past year. It's an annual grant. That's a lot of money for a theater. You know, that's a full-time salary position right there. That's something. So don't discount art. It is incredibly, incredibly important to society.
Yeah. You inadvertently just gave an overview of an incredible interaction in Mass Effect 3 when Joker and Commander Shepard are on the Presidium and talking about the exact same thing. Oh, look, did you know that Blasto 6 comes out this weekend? Yeah. Also, this planet just got destroyed. And those things, and Commander Shepard's like, yeah, like that has to happen. That hope truly matters. Well, Brent, we got to dig into the messages of this incredible episode, but you get to do something fun, a little pivot out of all that into something nice and fun as you get to lay it down.
Hold on.
You get to name.
Jeff, are you there?
Yeah.
Hold on. Stop.
Oh,
something weird is very much going on with me over here. Hold on.
Okay.
I think this actually might be my internet still suffering the effects of Milton.
Oh, I was gonna say something else coming through. My God.
Yeah. But no, my R2 Windows just blacked out for me and I lost your whole feed. So,
oh wow.
If you could, we clearly are transitioning to the next piece. So if you do me a favor and start from that spot, and I think we're back now. We're good.
Cool. Yeah. You never stopped on my view.
Oh, really? So, oh yeah. No, I was blooped out. So,
wow, okay. Well, Brent, we got to dig into the messages, the plentiful messages in this episode, and got pretty heavy. There's a lot there to digest. And now we get to pivot into something a little more fun as you are the ultimate authority in this moment. You get to add to the 100% objectively definitive, immutable, and solely correct ranking of these episodes of Crusade. Brent, this week we're going to round out our top 5. So I'm going to go in reverse order right now. Number 4, we have The Memory of War. Number 3 is Appearances and Other Deceits. Number 2 is Warzone. And our number 1 at this point is The Long Road. Brent, where do the Needs of Earth go?
Well, this certainly is going to be better than Memory of War, our episode from last week.
Oh yeah.
Now I really liked Appearances and Other Deceits. I thought that was a great, decent episode. Big fan of Warzone. Like that, it was the pilot we needed. Totally. I loved that episode. I also, it's still to this day, loved Long Road. I had so much fun in that episode. Jeff, I said this is not an episode that is going to be the one you submit to the awards, but this is a fantastic episode. So for me, I've got to judge this on which one am I going to watch again first. Where is it going to go? So for me, this is now slotting in, Jeff, to be our new number 2.
Okay.
Right underneath The Long Road, just above Warzone. And I got to tell you, you could almost put Needs of Earth and Warzone into a bag and shake them up and come out either way and it'd be okay. But if you're giving me my druthers, I'm going to watch Needs of Earth over Warzone again. So
yeah, I think that you made the correct choice.
There you go.
On that one, for sure. Brett, that wraps it up for the Needs of Earth. Next week, we're going to be watching Racing the Night for the first time. We've never seen these episodes before, and one of our favorite games we like to play is guessing what it's going to be about based on the title alone. So, Brent, what do you think is going to happen next week when we watch Racing the Night?
I think this is one of those episodes where, like, the crew of the Excalibur. You know what? I think this episode is very just sort of bonk over the head. Like it's very, this is what the episode's about. So the crew is going to have to accomplish something by morning, some sort of a goal. Otherwise it'll all be for naught. So they're literally racing the night. They have to get it done by sunup or they're all going to turn to stone. Like they gotta, something's got to happen. Or this is a sequel to Day of the Dead.
Oh, wow.
Or that. One of the two.
Get some Brakiri on here and
Let's do it. A sequel to Day of the Dead. I did like that episode. That was a fun episode.
Mostly.
How about you, Jeff? What do you think?
Well, I'm in sequel territory right now because when I hear Racing the Night, I think about Racing Mars. And so I think we're going to get an Odd Couple episode in this one. I think the Odd Couple is going to be Eilerson and Matheson. When I first thought about this, I went really on the nose and like, well, they'll be on a freighter and they got to get their identicards and whatever. But I think they're just going to be somehow those two get teamed up on a mission and it's just going to be an Odd Couple sort of a thing that we get set up with. A little more of a fun episode.
Mm-hmm.
And Brett, we're going to find out right here next week. And as I say that, I realize we haven't written a closing for this episode.
I literally was just sitting here going, crap, what am I going to do?
I know. What do we?
I can go off the cuff on this one.
Let's see what happens. Also, maybe we just end it. And I guess we're going to find out right here next week. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us. Please don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening to us, watching us, or whatever. Leave us a rating and a review. We might read that review here on the podcast. But the one thing that you can do that will absolutely mean the world to us is share this show in whatever form you're consuming it with somebody who loves Babylon 5, loves Crusade, or needs to experience them like Brent and myself here for the very first time. So with that, until next time, we're going to head out of here.
Jeff.
Yeah, Brent, what's up?
Jeff, so I was going through some movies and was looking for something to watch with the kids. And I need to run some of these titles by you because I'm not sure if these are going to be safe to watch with the kids.
Okay. Well, knowing you're digging into the Disney trove.
Well, yeah, they sounded like Disney films, and something seems a little off. So, first of all, there's a title we mentioned, Snow White and the Seven Narn.
I don't know about that one.
All right, how about Sleeping Brakiri?
Yeah, I don't think that's how that one goes. No.
101 Centauri appendages.
Oh my God. For crying out loud.
A whole thing
good.
about art, and I go back to the porn name.
Right, yeah, that's the thing to do.
That's all I got for you right now.
Like, I gotta do something
I feel a
funny.
little
What do I
relevant
got?
right now?
That was good.
I would like to apologize to the Walt Disney Company, to Walt and his memory, and everything about that. I truly love you guys. And
You do. You're wearing a Mickey shirt right now.
I am wearing a Mickey shirt. We actually had a big conversation today as to whether or not we would go to Disney. Like, we almost went to Disney today. Actually, I don't know if it was almost at all, because my wife was like, yeah, no, we're not going. But I've been sitting here going like, okay, we got the day off of school. It's post-hurricane. Tons of people have either gotten the heck out of Dodge or they canceled or postponed their trips to come down here. Weather is gorgeous right now.
Yeah.
Like, amazing. I was like, this is the day to go. Let's go.
I saw a video of people this weekend who were
Yeah.
going to, and it's just like it's pouring down rain and stuff. And I got my tickets to Disney. So,
Dude, little known fact: rain days are the best days to go to Disney.
yeah, because nobody's there.
Well, I mean, like in the middle of the day, it starts raining, right? Parks clear out, gone, right? Here's what I tell people, because people get the ponchos and they do all this kind of stuff. You need to do that if you didn't prepare, but if you prepare, wear clothes that you don't mind being wet in, wear shoes that you don't mind being wet in. Just go get wet.
Yeah.
Let the rains come, as long as it's not lightning and you're safe, you know, you're not slipping all over the place. Go ride. Most of the rides will still be open. Just go have a blast. Everybody's leaving the park. They are boogieing out of there, man.
Yeah.
Go.
It was like
it is so much fun.
It's like 8-9 years ago. I was in Orlando at Disney, and it started pouring down rain, and everyone went undercover. And I went undercover, kind of followed. Then I was just like, what am I doing? I'm from the Pacific Northwest. And I went out with my buddy, and we rode probably we were in Magic Kingdom, and we probably rode every single ride. There were no lines, no nothing. Oh my God, it's wet. It's like, yeah, we're going to go on Splash Mountain. What's the big deal? Come on. We've got our amazing Council Chambers crew in here.
Yeah, Council Chambers. We got a handful of people in here. Shout out, let's see, we got Joey, Trey's in here. I see Fabio, Peter's in, Ben is in. You know, not bad for some folks who, like, we literally just were like, hey, we're going right now. Let's go.
Right.
There's no warning. So thank you guys for joining us.
I love the comment from Trey here. # making sausage with the garage door.
Right.
Oh, good. There's good number of.
Yeah, I like this one. I like it. Yeah, making sausage with the garage door. That's, hey, listen, this is how the sausage is made, right? Like we talked. Just gotta wait.
Yeah.
Wait. So Fabio says this. He said, "Rip Jokey McJokerson."
It's for real.
Can I make a confession, Jeff?
Yeah.
When you said the Regent, my head went, who? And then you said Jokey McJokerson. I was like, oh, I'm with you. Okay, I got it. I'm with you. I got it now.
I was about to be like Verini, but I did some math of my own, and I was like, oh, I need to go with Jokey McJokerson.
Yeah,
otherwise Brent's not gonna follow.
I might have actually gotten Verini. It would have taken me a minute to be like, wait, which one was Verini? Because I think I would have gone with, like, you remember the guy, like, he was the wannabe first minister when Londo was coming in to become the emperor.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think that's who my mind would have gone to at first, but I would have gotten to Verini in a minute.
That guy was such a pompous ass. Like,
right.
Ugh.
Right. Hey, Trey gives us a little shout out. He's talking about the Patreon subscription is worth it, folks. Yeah, come on over. If you're still watching this, come on over and do that. So
we sure try. I love doing this, but Brent, I am a single dad tonight.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Got
you
a little girl.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I've left on her own for a little while, and so I'm gonna go be dad.
Well, one more if I could. Fabio suggested we should have said Minbarella.
That's brilliant.
Yep. I love that. Okay, we'll get out of here, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Council Chambers, those of you guys who showed up, welcome. Club 65 is closed. Drop a 65 if you're still here. Drop a 65 down in the comments. Let us know you're here. It's our after show. We don't tell people that's what this is. They got to find it on their own. You're cool because you stuck around after the ending of the show.
You're here.
With that, Jeff, you got to go be a dad. Actually, I got to go be a dad too. So we'll get out of here. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys.